The government doing something good, Chad. That's not good. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Boom.
I don't think the statement credit card companies are evil would be controversial. It's a very cold take, but a recent Senate hearing showed us just how evil these companies are. Back in 2023, the Credit Card Competition Act was introduced in Senate, and basically the goal of this act was to break the duopoly of Visa and MasterCard by requiring large banks, those with assets over $100 billion, to enable their credit card.
$100 billion, Chad. That is such an insane number. Yeah, just a little $100 billion.
To be processed on at least 2 unaffiliated networks, and this intends to foster a more competitive environment where smaller networks can also participate. Now, because Visa and MasterCard control 80% of the market share, banks are more than likely to only provide those cards. So if you go to Chase Bank, for example, and you're like, yo, can I get a credit card or a debit card? They're like, okay, how about a Visa? Now let's take a look at this Senate hearing where the Senator Josh Hawley has these credit card company representatives dead to fucking rights in terms of their predatory business practices. This is so cathartic to watch, to see these fucking demons get exposed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just on that point about Visa and MasterCard being successful businesses, I think you figured it out, haven't you? I mean, what's your profit margin, Ms. Kirkpatrick?
It's circa 50%.
Mr. Sheedy?
Slightly higher.
It's higher than 50% profit margin?
Slightly higher than MasterCard, yes.
Whoa, what? That's insane.
50% is fucking massive, brother.
I was
If you
just
can envision this, I'm gonna give you a very easy visual. It's actually so crazy when you realize how much that is. So because a 50% profit margin is you're basically doubling your money. Let's say I have $1 million house. I lived there for 10 years. I use the house. It's great. And then I just want to move and buy a new house. But I get to sell my house for $2 million. I've done nothing to it. It just exists. I just get $1 million for fucking free. For doing no work at all. That's a 50% profit.
And that's what BlackRock does, by the way, in Vanguard.
Profit margin. That's insane. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that, obviously, but when you're Visa and MasterCard and you're generating money just by taking a transaction fee on every single swipe, you're not really providing much value to people. Like,
no, but I'm providing you the ability to use my card, and that's why it's good business. Gorpa, Corpa.
You've invented one service, and the credit card is revolutionary, but you're getting a kickback somewhere between 1 to 3% for every fucking swipe that takes place every single day. You are generating, I think, billions of dollars, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in transaction revenue annually, and you have no incentive to improve your service because there's no competition, to lower transaction rates because there's no competition. You just rake in hundreds of millions of dollars, and that increases every year.
Yeah, that's incredible. 50%. Profit margin. I mean, that's absolutely unbelievable. What's the answer to the Walmart question, by the way, that
I like this guy. I like this attitude.
Senator Welch posed to you? What's Walmart's interchange fee that you negotiate with them?
I don't have it with me today.
You don't have any idea whatsoever? Is it higher?
How do you not know?
Or lower than 2.5%?
Walmart negotiates their rates based on the business that they do with us.
Okay, so she has some idea that.
And they say women who are rich and empowered don't exist, by the way. What are their positions? Are they the CEOs or something? Women aren't in the positions of power, for sure. 100%.
I really have no idea. You know, she has some idea because she gave a fucking
COO.
answer. But also, you have to think about how crazy
They're
that
lawyers.
is, right? Walmart
Okay,
gets to
never mind.
negotiate their rates? What? They can just, because they're so big, talk to these fucking people and bend the rules. They're like, yeah, we're just so big and we're so powerful. And, you know, a lot of people are swiping cards at our business because we're a fucking huge business. Can we get a lower transaction rate than the mom and pop shops that are the backbone of America?
I didn't even know about this. That is so fucked. That is so fucked. How is this allowed? Oh my god, America's built for business owners. Oh my lord.
Trying to thrive in small towns and put food on the plate for their children. That's so fucking crazy. I mean, from a business perspective, like, it makes sense, right? Since they're providing a larger volume of transactions to these networks, they're gonna get a better transaction rate. But fuck, man, this is really just a case of the rich get richer, isn't it?
Yep.
Meaning they're big.
Yep.
They're really big. They're gigantic. So they get a better deal than Mr. Callahan or most small businesses in Missouri. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, Senator, we have volume discounts that we offer to some merchants. I suspect Walmart is one of them. And, you know, I don't believe that it's commercially unreasonable to get an arrangement where, in exchange for more volume, a merchant can qualify for lower rates.
Well, I'm sure.
Amazon is going to have to face the music at some point for this as well, because Amazon is running these small and pop shops, and like they're even running Walmart out of business, to be completely honest with you, because they have such an insane monopoly on delivering goods, and eventually I think it'll happen. I don't know when, but you know, it's massive.
Sure, it's not commercially unreasonable for Walmart, or certainly it's in their financial interest and in yours, but I doubt it's in Mr. Callahan's financial interest. And my question to you, Mr. Callahan, is when you've got Walmart and other major competitors getting charged much less than you are, why in the world would you stick with these guys? I mean, why is it that small businesses continue to use Visa and MasterCard when you're getting charged so much more?
So for context, Mr. Callahan is a small business owner, and what do you think he's gonna say? Do you think he's gonna say, well, you know, I just love Visa and MasterCard so much, and I really believe in what they're doing, so I'm using them opposed to much of the many other credit card options out there because there's just so many, and I know Visa and MasterCard stand for family values that I can only support as a Christian. No, he's gonna say I use them because that's what 95% of people who own credit cards carry in their pockets, and
Exactly. And he will lose business because if he doesn't let them use it, then he's fucked. He has no choice.
when they go to pay because we don't have cash anymore, that's what I'm gonna have to use. And it's convenient because I don't want to have to try to assemble the Avengers to fight the fucking duopoly that is Visa and MasterCard. I just want to sell my coffee.
Absolutely, unequivocally based Lumi enjoyer. I knew I liked this video for a reason. Based Lumi enjoyer.
I want to sell my sticks. I want to go home and say, hey, you know, I conducted some business today to
Buy
my
a
wife
coffee
and kids
chat.
over some beautiful medium rare steak that my wife cooked for me. That's all I want. Okay, I don't have time to dismantle this duopoly. It's just out of convenience. It's out of the fact that he has no choice.
It's in my opinion, it's a matter of convenience for the customer, and customers matter to our business.
Maybe is it because that Visa and MasterCard are effectively monopolies? They control 80% of the market?
Certainly
No, no.
80% of the market?
Not 20. Not 40. Not 50. Not 60%. 80% of the market. Imagine if 80% of all cars in America were like Ford or something, or Toyota. Bro, that's insane.
I'm just having a hard time understanding, Mr. Sheedy and Ms. Kirkpatrick, you have a business model, you're making over 50% profit margin. You are able to give the shaft to small businesses. Estimated cost to Missouri businesses from these fees is $1.5 billion. That's with a B, $1 billion a year.
Yeah, but like they deserve it because they weren't they could just pick the other option. Yeah, duh.
They've literally gathered over $1 billion in just swipe kickbacks. That's like, imagine every time someone said the name Acheeto, I would get $5. I'm getting money for nothing. I'm just, because people are saying my name, because people are swiping the card, they're just getting money. It's insane. The US government doesn't get a kickback whenever I use my cash. That's why they say cash is king, you know? I promise you, bro, if you give these smaller businesses better rates, it doesn't even have to be the Walmart gold standard rates. They could
so
be a little
evil.
higher. Your profit would still be fine. You'd still be making over $1 billion fucking dollars.
That's what I'm saying, man. This also, to some extent, affects content creators, where if you lose 3% of your audience, some people find that as like a disastrous move. It's really sad. When you're trying to make ends meet, I understand. If you're trying to make ends meet and you don't want to lose 3% of your like viewership or, you know, the audience that you have for obvious reasons, 3% is still not that bad. Like if you say 10 to 15%, I'd be like, ooh, that's pretty bad. 3% of $1.1 billion? What do you need that money for?
Dollars, you know?
Why aren't all of these businesses running away from this model? Because they don't have a choice, because you control so much of the market. This is classic monopolistic behavior, and yet your testimony here today is you don't want any competition. You have 80% of the market, but you don't want any more competition. I'm having...
Yeah, there's 2 sharks in the water. Why would you add a third one? Of course they're gonna try and bully another shark that tries to jump into the ocean. I'm not failing to understand.
A hard time finding that position defensible, let alone sympathetic. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of money that you're making. It's unbelievable what you're charging small businesses and consumers, and yet you're...
Well, you see, I would like to purchase my 10th yacht at the Bahamas and then get another lawyer for my Cayman Islands offshore project. I really need that money. Ultimately, please. Sir, I need that money.
Testimony is, please, we can't possibly have any competition. I mean, let's talk about what you're doing to consumers who hold your cards. Last year, as I understand it, there were 726 million Visa and MasterCard credit cards issued in the United States. That's about 2 for every 1 person in the United States of America. Do either of you know how much debt is owed on your networks, Ms. Kirkpatrick?
Oh yeah, that statistic, by the way.
Oh my God. I think I can name it. The average person in America has a debt of around about $20,000. That's average. Average.
Way is fucking crazy. 2 for every person. Now, I mean, it is a nuts statistic, you know, over 785 million cards issued, and that's literally double the population of the country. You know, the statistic...
That means that people... That means that people open multiple cards. I have 1 card. Okay, that's a lie. I have 2 cards. One's a credit card and one's a debit. That's it. That's all I have.
Statistic is crazy, and it's still crazy even when I say this caveat, but it is true. Like, you know, people get their cards stolen, so they have ones reissued, and, you know, people change banks. There's all this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's
also,
normal.
it's sort of like when you have like whales in gambling or whales in app store purchases, where it's like you can say this casino, for example, has had $100 million wagered, but 50 million of that wagered is from 1 person.
That's what they bank on. That's why it's so important to get the hook on the whale in mobile gaming or casinos. It's interchangeable. If you get 1 person hooked, that's $5 million in your pocket over like a period of like a year or 2 years or 3 years, guaranteed. If you make a little bit off the top of like the small shrimp that give you like $30, like that's whatever. You want the big bucks. You want the big whale.
But then if you try to make that 100 million per capita, it seems like, wow, out of 100 people, they've wagered $1 million, when it's like, you have people wagering pennies, right? But even with all those caveats, it's so telling based on the volume of cards issued that banks don't really have a choice. It's not a competitive market. Like, that's what the Credit Card Competition Act is seeking to do. And, you know, if I knew more about this piece of legislation, I'd probably support it, just based on from what I'm hearing. It's simply to make it so that banks are more incentivized to offer other cards, so that networks can process unaffiliated cards, right? Because
and they stop censoring. Maybe this touches into it, I don't know, but I hope it's so that they can stop censoring things like Patreon and Pixiv and anime websites being restricted for PayPal use, MasterCard, and Visa, because they're trying to dictate what they don't and want to be seen. What if they start doing that with like video games, man? I think people would flip the fuck out.
At the very least, right, you're either going to have these cards that are offering lower transaction fees to merchants and consumers. Well, consumers don't bear the brunt of the transaction fee, but they might in prices in some way. Who knows? They probably do in mom and pop shops, right? They're probably factoring the transaction fee they're paying into the price of their product, which is affecting the consumer. So it does affect the consumer in cases where they're bearing the brunt of the cost. But let's say a card had like a lower transaction fee. If more people even don't end up using that card, it still might be competitive enough to force Visa and MasterCard to lower their transaction fees. Like, that would be something that I would hope happens. It doesn't have.
And that's healthy. If you provide an alternative, the market will try and fight itself out. When you have 3 companies or 4 companies that all, they probably talk under the table. Like, let's be realistic. Those CEOs are probably laughing. They're laughing at all the peasants. They're like, ha 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 ha. I have my 10th yacht. What about you, Visa? Oh, PayPal has made $2 billion this year. Oh, excellent.
To be the next Visa or MasterCard, whatever card would be the competitor, but it has to be competitive enough to incentivize a little bit of change in this market.
We're not the bank, so we don't have visibility into that information. We also don't generate revenue from interchange.
Oh, okay, you have no idea. Mr. Sheedy, do you know?
I don't know.
Well, let me help you out.
Classic.
Let's have a look.
Classic.
It's 1.
Oh, he brought. I shouldn't have done that. But he brought out the graph.
$17 trillion.
$1.17 trillion in fucking debt. That.
How much does America spend on the military? $820.3 billion. That's how much debt people have. It's more than the military budget for 2023. Chad, I'm starting to think America's not okay. It's not enough. Yeah, that's kind of, that's not okay, chat.
Insane. The United States itself as a country is in about $36 trillion of debt. This is 1/36 of the entire fucking debt that the United States owes. The United States! The entire country, we as a country, that's insane! And the fact that they're like, well, we don't know this, especially when the chick is like, we don't have access to this. It's a fucking Google search statistic. You do have access to this. What?
She's a lawyer. She's supposed to say that. Again, I would shit on them if they were the CEO, but they're just a lawyer, dude.
What are you talking about? Google's free. You can look this up. Where do you think he got this fucking poster from?
They're
you think
supposed
this was
to say
some
they
sort of
don't know.
hidden knowledge inside a tomb or a crypt and they had to go looking for it? It's on Google.
Opening Reagan's tomb.
$1.17 trillion is what consumers now owe on your credit card networks. Do either of you know what the average interest rate is on your networks?
Like fucking 12%, I think. Probably.
Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Oh, Senator, we're not the bank. We don't set the interchange.
I know.
We don't
but you
set the
benefit
rates.
from it, and you know. Do you know what it is? This is your business model.
We
Do you
don't.
know?
We don't collect
Do you know,
revenue
Mr.
from
Mr.
interest
Sheedy,
rates.
do you know?
I don't, Senator.
I mean, do either of you read the newspaper? Forbes magazine just estimated last week that the average credit card APR in your networks is 28.75%. Average.
Average, chat. That's not like a flat. Oh my god. There's boob in the background. Thank you, chatter. There's boob in the background.
29%. Let's
It's
call
good.
it. 29%. It's nearly doubled in the last 4 years.
Wait, that actually makes a lot of sense because the last time I looked at it, it was like 12-14%. Holy fuckamole, we are so fucked.
That is astounding.
Face.
Absolutely astounding. And you just testified a second ago that you've got more than 50% profit margin, and yet your testimony here today is you can't possibly survive if there's any competition.
This is the sort of...
You know who can't survive? The people working 4 jobs and blowing their brains out, man. The mom and pop shops that close down, and then grandma has to go work at Walmart. Yeah. Man, they love fucking the people.
A situation where they could be losing, and I use losing loosely because losing to them is really just but benefiting everyone else. They could be losing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every single year, and it would be fucking negligible. That's never something that I should be able to say about any company ever, that they could lose hundreds of millions of dollars and it would be negligible. So Visa and MasterCard executives have defended their fees, citing the need to invest in network infrastructure and security measures, and they argue that the proposed legislation would harm consumers by reducing rewards programs and credit card options.
Chat, have you ever tried to call a credit card company support or a bank, like, for support? Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, that infrastructure literally doesn't exist, but okay.
So they're basically saying that we can't give you cash back, and we can give you airline points if they dare to make it easier for people who run businesses to collect more money on the shit that.
Oh no, my Best Buy card that I'll get like 5% credit like on every purchase. No, oh god. Oh shit, if I buy a phone with a credit card for Best Buy, it means that I'm not gonna be able to get 5% back on my $100 purchase, which is $5. What? No.
They've given people, and for us, for our gremlin pennies and whatever, and fees for whatever the fuck you're selling for no reason. And they've also challenged the claim that they pay off competitors.
And frankly, look, it is very difficult to hear both Visa and MasterCard today testify that there's competition on the merchant side of the market, when literally just 2 months ago, the Department of Justice filed a complaint against Visa, and major allegations in the complaint were that Visa pays off Apple, PayPal, and Square, which owns the Cash App, not to compete with them. How in the world can...
I mean, winners win and losers lose. Yep. Isn't it bribing? Yep, absolutely. Yeah. We're getting caught.
They maintain at a hearing today that there's competition when they're literally paying off the competition not to compete with them.
Mr. Kenner, Mr. Sheehy, did you want to respond to that?
I'm happy to respond to the last point. We do have a commercial agreement with Apple. It doesn't have them to not compete with us. We have an agreement where we share very sophisticated security technology that enables Apple Pay to work. We have a commercial.
We don't pay them off. We just give them a little bit of money for letting us use our very secure infrastructure, chat. Yeah, it's a little, money I put on the table.
Agreement that sort of governs that arrangement with Apple. But there's nothing in that arrangement that impacts their ability to compete with us. In fact, they're free to compete with us, and we, in our view, they do.
So for that clip, I would...
In our view, they do, but magically all of my opponents seem to be disappearing. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, my opponent in this political situation, in this debate, just magically woke up dead. Yeah, I didn't do anything. Yeah, you guys...
Say two things. One, it is true, like I do use Apple Pay sometimes if I forgot my wallet and stuff like that, and it's non-tangible, so if you have your phone with you, you have your wallet with you, which is pretty revolutionary. At the same time, it's so revolutionary that it should be fucking bigger. That's sort of my thing, where it's like, it's Apple #1. Apple could make this a thing overnight. It could be the biggest thing ever. Apple is the biggest company in the world, right? I'm pretty sure it's like #1 on the fucking NASDAQ. And so the fact...
I mean, that doesn't mean anything. Being at market cap and being the #1 doesn't mean anything. How can they compete with you when they literally use your infrastructure? Are you a moron? Yeah, and that's why they pay them money to like keep using their infrastructure, of course. No, but if you start competing with us, we might use someone. But you might use someone else's infrastructure, chat. You can't do that.
That it's not bigger, or it's not like a direct and major competitor to the credit card companies, or at least as big as it should be, makes me think that there probably is some sort of money going to Apple to stop them from doing this. Of course. Right? I mean, think about how bigger Apple Pay could be. It's in your phone. It's very quick. You can't get stolen from. It requires Face ID, which takes 1 second. This could be...
I'll disagree with purely because you have to have an Apple product. Face ID is not something that you, the Face ID is exclusive to Apple. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Face ID can be tricked with photos. I'm not sure, actually, on that. Can you use Apple Pay if you have an Android? Can I just ask really quick? Does anybody know? No, it can't. Okay, I thought so. That's why I'm saying, like, that's also bad. No, it's not. Google Pixels have Face ID. I know, but it's Apple. Like, you're using Apple's infrastructure. Google Wallet and Google Pay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're still competing. I'm just saying you have an alternative, so you should have more of an option to have more competition. It shouldn't just be Apple exclusively. Yeah.
Way bigger than all the cards, but it makes me think that they're being paid off to some extent. That's just sort of my theory, but take that as just a theory, I don't know. But yeah, man, those people are the worst ever. I hope that they have to compete with as many companies as possible. They're fucking everybody in America and making money doing it. And yeah, that's about it. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like if you liked, leave a dislike if you disliked. Very different video today. Just trying out a new formula and I
like this guy likes Lumi.
All right, see ya.
Base Lumi enjoyer, chat. If you become a PayPal or Apple Pay CEO, please remember me, and yeah, please don't create monopolies. I would appreciate it. Acheeto, thank you so much for the video. That was really cool. Thank you. That was very nice, very informative. I'll send you $1 million. No, I don't need $1 million. Just remember me when you create robots that kill you. Tell them to not kill me.